I'm Susan Lybeck, and I have the privilege of being the Research Information Volunteer for the Greater Connecticut Western Massachusetts chapter of JDRF. In my role as RIV, I participate in monthly calls with leading JDRF scientists providing updates about research towards a cure for type 1 diabetes and ways to make it easier to live with in the meantime. This month's call is about cell therapies, and there's some breaking news, so please stay tuned for that. Also, please know that I am neither a doctor nor a scientist, so any mistakes I make in summarizing the call are mine alone. At the end of this short video, I'll provide a link to a longer presentation if you want more information. As you know, in people with type 1 diabetes, the immune system destroys beta cells, which are the cells found in the pancreas that produce insulin. One known way to stop the disease, at least for a short time, is to replace those destroyed beta cells. We know that cell replacement works. You can see from the CGM graph shown here the variability in blood glucose control both before and after an islet transplant using cells from a deceased donor. The cell transplant results in insulin independence, and these results are better than anything we can achieve, even using the newest technology or hybrid closed-loop systems. Replacing the cells, in effect, results in a cure. Unfortunately, at the current time, only a small portion of people living with type 1 diabetes can get this treatment, those with severe hypoglycemic unawareness. Because of the challenges to get beta cells from deceased donors, there simply aren't enough available, and because a beta cell recipient must also take broad immunosuppressant drugs to protect the implanted cells. Unfortunately, immunosuppressants can have devastating long-term effects, including infection and cancer. So the challenge we face is threefold. First, we need to develop a way to have a reliable, renewable, and unlimited source of beta cells so that every person with type 1 diabetes can get this treatment. Second, we need to find a way to support the beta cells so they stay healthy and functional in the body for an infinite amount of time. And third, we need to shield the beta cells from immune attack to prevent the need for additional immunosuppressant drugs. Thanks to research funded by JDRF, renewable cells are in development and in various stages of regulatory approval from all of these companies. So the first challenge is well on the way to being met. And here's the breaking news I promised. Vertex recently announced incredibly positive results for the first patient enrolled in their clinical trial of VX-880, which is a stem cell-derived therapy using fully differentiated insulin-producing pancreatic islet cells. The patient was treated with only half the target dose of cells, but after 90 days, he still saw a 91% decrease in daily insulin requirements, a marked improvement in his A1C, and no significant adverse events. Although these results are from only one patient, it's still very exciting because it shows that these islet cells can be mass-produced and that they do work. Unfortunately, this therapy is still limited to patients with severe hypoglycemic unawareness because it does still require broad immunosuppression. JDRF is exploring multiple approaches to deliver beta cells and protect them from immune attack. You may have heard of encapsulation, which provides a physical barrier between the cells and the immune system. Scaffolding is another approach where a matrix is formed to keep the cells alive, to promote the infiltration of blood vessels, which provide oxygen to the cells and allow the cells to sense blood glucose, and it can also be used to deliver drugs locally to modulate the immune response. Closely related to that is immune modulation, where local delivery of drugs or other biotechnologies would alter the immune response to the cells at the site where they're implanted, so broad immunosuppressants wouldn't be necessary. And another option is gene editing to the implanted cells to modify them in a way to enhance their survival and function. This cell therapy roadmap shows how JDRF expects these therapies to develop. Today we're in the first stage, donor islet transplantation, which again is limited to a small number of patients and requires broad immunosuppression. The recent Vertex product would fall into the second stage. And as we move from left to right, each successive stage requires less immunosuppression and would be available to a larger category of patients. JDRF funds a number of centers of excellence, all of which are working collaboratively to develop different ways to protect implanted beta cells from the immune attack. JDRF also established a beta cell consortium a number of years ago, which has played a critical role in accelerating all of these technologies. The consortium brings together scientists and doctors from a variety of different disciplines and allows them to collaborate. This multidisciplinary approach is crucial in order to drive these therapies forward and get them to people living with type 1 diabetes as quickly as possible. JDRF is also active in the regulatory approval process of many of these therapies with the FDA. Because development of the product is only one part of the process, we also need to make sure they become approved and therefore become available to everyone who could benefit from them. If you're interested in taking part in clinical trials related to cell therapies, there are a number currently recruiting. Most of these trials are, at the moment, limited to people with hypoglycemic unawareness. But you can find out more about your eligibility for these and other clinical trials by going to jdrf.org and searching clinical trials, and it will take you right to the website referenced here. So in summary, clinical islet transplantation shows us that beta cell replacement can provide a functional cure for type 1 diabetes, and we now have a renewable source of cells that are being tested in clinical trials. JDRF research is now focusing on methods to deliver the cells in a way that ensures that they remain viable and functional, and also on methods to protect them from immune rejection without the use of broad immunosuppression. JDRF continues to catalyze progress through the Beta Cell Replacement Consortium, and JDRF investment has led to significant additional investment from the private sector to develop beta cell replacement technologies. JDRF also continues to work with the FDA to facilitate a path to regulatory approval. As the mother of a son who's been living with type 1 diabetes for more than 8 years, I am very excited about the prospect of cell therapies and the progress that JDRF is making in developing them, and I hope you are too. Thank you.